Here's a story, interesting story. Like I say, I think I've told you the story before, but I'll tell it again. It's a good story. Once there was a big businessman in gems. This is a story about 200 years ago, 250 years ago. And he heard about an amazingly good deal. A businessman on the other side of this river where he lived, it was like, a 2-3 hour journey to this river, some river, and wherever it was in France. I don't know exactly where this story took place, but it took place in some city in Europe, whatever, so some country in Europe. So a rich Jewish businessman that dealt in gems heard that there was another rich Jewish businessman that also dealt in gems and that he was selling out. He was selling out the gems at a tremendously low price. And that if he would go over there, it was a sure thing. He heard it from good friends. And if you give the person desperately needed money, whatever, and if he gave him this small amount of money, as he would get a tremendous amount of gems and everything. So, but before he went, he was a Chassid, a follower of Reb Zushi of Anipoli. Zushi of Anipoli. So he read Reb Zusha, and Reb Zusha said, "Don't go. Don't go. It's not going to be good. You're going to lose everything." So he came back home, and his wife had prepared for him his suitcases and everything. He said, "I'm not going." So why not? He said, "Because I went to Reb Zusha, and he said not to go. I'm going to lose everything." So she said, "Well, that's just ridiculous. I mean, we've heard that it's a good deal, and we've heard it from very, very reliable sources. And if you don't go quickly, somebody else will take this opportunity. And your friends did a big favor to you that they let you in on this, and now you're going to let them all down, etc., and etc., etc." So he said, "What can I do? Reb Zusha told me not to go." So she said, "Go to his brother. Go to his brother." Reb Eli Melech of Lezinsk was the brother of Zusha of Anipoli. Go to Reb Eli Melech of Lezinsk, and he will, excuse me, and ask him. So I can't do that. I went to Reb Zusha and I asked him. He already gave me advice. I can't go. He says, "You go to Rabbi Elimelech and you tell him that your wife is driving you crazy and that you already went to Reb Zusha, and tell him what Reb Zusha said, and then ask his advice and saying the only reason you're doing it is because your wife is forcing you." Okay. He's got no choice. So he goes to Rabbi Elimelech Milosensky. He tells him the whole story. "I went to Rabbi Zusha. I have this big business deal that's going to be, I'm going to be able to make a fortune from it. And it's a sure thing. I have good friends that told me about it. And they did me a big favor to let me in on this, but I have to do it quick. I have to move fast. And I went to Rabbi Zusha just to get a bro blessing." He said, "Oh, my brother?" "Yes, your brother." And he told me not to go. He said, "I'm going to lose everything." So Rabbi Elimelech put his head down. He says, "My brother told you not to go and you're coming to me?" I said, "Yeah, my wife is driving me crazy." I said, I didn't want to do it, but I mean, you have to admit, having peace in the house is an important thing. So, "Well, my brother told you not to go, and I'm telling you should go." I said, "Really?" He says, "Yes, because my brother saw up to the river and I saw after the river." Good. So he goes back home, doesn't ask any questions, goes to his wife, says, "I'm going." "What happened?" He says, "Reb Zusha said I shouldn't go, but Rabbi Elimelech said that I should go." He said, "Did you tell him that his brother said not to go?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "My brother, he only sees up to the river, and I see after the river." So his wife says, "What does it mean?" Says, "I don't know. I have no idea. But I know that he said that I should go." So he packs up all those things, takes his money. It has to take whatever, $1 million. The diamonds are worth like $2 million. Takes $1 million, sticks it in his money belt, secures it, makes the journey. Beautiful day. Makes the journey in the daytime, absolutely no problem. Gets up to the river, where the river is. He gets on a barge, whatever. It takes them over the river, and it's placid. It's beautiful. Nighttime, placid. It's beautiful. Everything is fine. And all of a sudden, they get to the middle of the river, and there starts winds blowing, and the weather suddenly comes cold, and there's big waves, and the waves are tossing the barge around, and the driver is not prepared for such a thing like this. And he says, "Everybody buckle down." All of a sudden, boom, it hits a rock, and all of a sudden the barge starts to sink. And this rich man finds himself in the river. He finds himself in the river, and the current is going. The current of the river is going quickly. He doesn't know what to do. He's almost drowning. He grabs onto some sort of a box or something that's floating by. and the box hits like a branch, or it hits another rock or whatever it is, and it stops. And the current tears all of his clothes off of his body. It's just a tremendously powerful current. And somehow or other, he makes it to the land. He takes it to dry land. That rock is connected to another rock, whatever it is, and he finds himself on dry land. Cold, and the wind is blowing, and he's totally naked. And he doesn't know what's going to happen, and he's freezing. He's freezing. He's just shivering, freezing. He sees a house in the distance, and he runs to the house, and he knocks on the door and says, please, please, throw me a blanket, throw me a blanket. He's afraid the person's going to open up the door. He's going to see a naked man standing there. He'll shoot him. He'll kill him with it. Throw me a blanket. I'm freezing to death. So the man on the inside says, who are you? He says, my name is this and this. I come from the, please just throw me a blanket. You don't have to open up the door. Just, says, you're a Jew. He says, yeah, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew. He says, opens up the door. And as he comes in, he sees there was a big mezuzah. He didn't notice it on the door. And he falls down from this tremendous, the tremendous, how do you say, trauma that he had. And he's shivering. Oh, I left out a part of the story. Left out a part of the story. What's the part of the story? Before he left, Reb Zusha told him, right? I'm sorry, I left this part out. Reb Zusha said, you should go, I see the other side of the river. Reb Zusha told him, I'm sorry, Reb Elimelech told him he should go. I hope this doesn't wreck the story. Reb Elimelech, before he told him to go, he said, I just want to know something. You know how to do ritual slaughter, mila, bris mila, circumcision. You're a mohel, right? You know how to do circumcision. So this rich man said, yes, this is before he left, right? Yes, I am. So he says, I want to show you a special way to stop bleeding. Stop the bleeding. If a child bleeds, it's a big problem. I want to show you a way to stop the bleeding. And just regular household things. He showed him with coffee, whatever he took. And then you have to say certain prayers, whatever, and it stops the bleeding. Okay, that was beforehand. Then afterwards, he took his money, got on the ship sank, and now he's found in the house of this rich person. And he's shivering. The rich person gives him clothes, covers him up. In the morning, he wakes up and says, what happened? He said, oh, the story was Reb Zusha said I shouldn't go, and Reb Elimelech said I should go. And I came and I lost all my money. I should have listened to Rabbi Zusha. I lost everything I have. I should have listened to him. I lost all my money, everything I've got. I almost died. He says, who told you to go? Rabbi Elimelech. He says, Rabbi Elimelech of Lezhinsk, yes. He says, tell me, I understand that Rabbi Elimelech of Lezhinsk, you just put it into my mind that he knows about circumcision. Is that true? He says, yeah, I also know about circumcision. It's true, he does know. He said, you know about circumcision? He said, yes. He said, listen, I got a big problem. I have two sons, and they're not circumcised. One of them is 3 years old. One of them is 5 years old. They're not circumcised. Why? Because they had an older brother, and he was circumcised, and the bleeding didn't stop. They didn't know how to stop the bleeding, and he died from circumcision. And now everyone is afraid to make the circumcision on the child. They say maybe it's hemophilia. They don't know what it is. So he said, well, Rabbi Zusha gave me a cure to stop bleeding. He said, yeah, let's see. Cuts his finger. Let's put it on there. Puts it on the finger. Works. Stops bleeding. I said, you're willing to try it on my son? Maybe that's the reason I came here. And so sure enough, the next day he brings the 3-year-old son and he prepares this powder, and he makes the circumcision and puts the powder on the bleeding of the circumcision, and it stops. Then he brings his older son, the one that was, one was 3, one was 5, whatever, brings the 5-year-old son. Same thing, bleeding, and the bleeding stops. He says, you did it. You stopped the bleeding for my sons. You made my sons. Yeah, pretty amazing. So listen, tell me something. How much money, you said you lost all your money, everything, every penny. He says, tell me, how much money could you have made if you would have bought these gems? He says, the gems, they were worth like 2 million. I brought 1 million. He said, I'm going to give you 10 million. What? He said, I'm a rich man. And these 2 boys, circumcising them, meant the world to me. And I couldn't find anyone to circumcise them. I didn't even think of Rabbi Elimelech. I didn't think of it. And now you came here, I just accepted it. That's what it's going to be. But now you circumcise my two sons. Means so much to me. I'm giving you a reward. Suddenly he understood what Rav Elimelech meant, that my brother Zusha saw up to the river, and I saw after the river. That he lost everything was only a preparation that he should benefit tenfold what he thought he was going to make. And so it is to us, all these troubles that we've had in the time of exile and this terrible situation we're in now with the prisoners, with the Hamas, with the this. It's a big loss, but it's only there to be after the river, after the Mayim Rabim, the troubles and the tribulations and the disappointments and frustrations of this world, it's only up to the time of Mashiach. Suddenly it's going to be, Hashem is going to circumcise the hearts of all the Jews, and it's going to be a major change for the good in the world. Miracles, good miracles that we never dreamed would happen, just like we left Egypt with miracles that were destructive miracles. They're going to be constructive miracles with the arrival of the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach now to take us all out of this terrible exile into Geula Amitit Vashlema, to a true redemption, complete now. Have a good day with Mashiach now, and see you all at 8:15 on Sunday morning. Shabbat Shalom.